Alright, this is my old jig, and you can see that I've got one of the blades clamped in here. It's just a couple of pieces of steel or tin iron that I had laying around, drilled some holes through it. They act as clamps to hold it. Then you put it on your reference surface and then dial this up and down to get the proper angle, and then just work it in this direction like this, one blade at a time. Now it does a good job. I'm not discounting this jig at all. It does do a good job, but the problem is it's one blade at a time, and making sure that you do each blade equally. You got to remember your strokes and all that. You're not really removing that much metal, but anyway, my biggest thing was one blade at a time. So let me remove this blade out of here and put it in my other jig that I just came up with, or just made here a little bit ago. Okay, so here's the new jig. Nothing more than a solid block of wood. This is maple, and I think when I redo this I'm going to use some white oak, something that's a little more water resistant. I was just doing this on the fly, and that's what happens. You just grab what you can right off. So you set these in here, this bevel side out, and then put the other one on the matching side, so both bevels are flat. Then this is the wedge, and that's match drilled to this body, and then it's nothing more than 3 screws here, and I tighten up the middle one first and then do the 2 outside ones. Okay, the first stone I'm going to start out with here is it's a DMT diamond stone. It's 325 grit, and I'm just going to do this about 10 strokes this way, and I'm going to turn it around and do it 10 this way as well, so that I keep, your hand pressure can vary somewhat. So okay, so that's 325, then I move to 600. That's good. Now I'm just going to do the back. I got to get my screw bit again here. Now if these things had like a major nick in them or something, I'd probably start out with sandpaper first. Like some 150 grit sandpaper. I'm going to take this out. And now I'm just going to address the back here and get rid of that burr. This is my last one. I've got my magnet set in the right position, and I just loosen this inside bolt, and you'll hear that knife come up and meet those magnets there, just like that. And I bring this back so that that's lined up with the line right there. And I go back in here and snug this one up again, center one, and then work the other 2. Snug that. Okay, now I'll dismantle all this. And then tighten the outside nuts here. Okay, then just repeat 3 more times, and then we'll check out how she runs here. Got a piece of cherry here. Hopefully you can see the saw marks on that. And got a little knot there. I really shouldn't run that through there, but I'm going to do it anyway. So let's see how it cleans this up. I'd say that worked pretty well. Let me get around here. That's glass smooth. And look at what it did around that knot there. No tear whatsoever. Beautiful. Now let me show you how I made that jig. Okay, now you can see what's going on here. I'm going to raise my blade up a bit here. But the reason you want to do this is you want to keep this angle. You want that to be identical to what you cut into your block, so that the wedge, when it pulls down, matches that setup. So this should be good. Let me get a push block here. And we'll make this cut. on now. I'm going to get my tape and measure my distance here. Make my mark. Actually, I'll make it on this end, and then we'll adjust the fence accordingly and go from there. Okay, I'm back on the right side of the blade here. I think I've got it set up pretty well. I've just eyeballed it basically, but I'm going to make this first cut and see where I'm at. You can see that little lip right there. That's got to be removed. So I got to bring the blade up and drop this. This plane's got to come down a little bit. Okay, now the next critical step is to get these 3 holes drilled and make sure that they're centered, or at least match drilled. But you want this thing to be, this wedge to be in the right place, obviously. So I was thinking, well, I'll use these pieces of steel to represent my joiner blades, but they're just too big. So I ended up doing this. I just cut a couple pieces of 1/8 inch hardboard. It's very consistent thickness, and I just drop that in here, and then drop in my wedge, and when I push down, why, that is located. That's not going anywhere. So that's the look you're looking for. So it's not wobbling, and I've got it seated perfectly. So I'm going to take this to the drill press now, and first of all I'm going to locate center. But knowing that I've got 8-inch joiner blades, I don't want these screws that I'm going to put in here to be on the outside of the blade. I want them to be just inside. And then if I had longer joiner blades, that's going to be perfect too. The wedge will be holding just the way it's designed to do it. Alright, here's my setup that I've got going here. I've got a little step fence, I guess I'll call it, a little piece of 1-inch extrusion. It's about 3/4 of an inch high, and that's to pull this away so that I don't interfere with these pieces of hardboard. Then the other thing I'm doing is I've got a transfer punch in here that I use to locate center, and that's good. So this is going to be my stop for center, which is a couple of 3-to-1 blocks. That worked out really well. I guess my extrusion must be about 7/8 because it's a little smaller than this, so that when I clamp it, it doesn't move on me, and I know that this is nice and square. So when I push everything up tight, that's perfect. Then when I slide this direction, that's going to be my next stop. Okay, got my bit swapped out. I'm tight to my stop here, and it feels like I'm down very, right where I want to be here. So I'm just going to drill through this and just touch the body of this. Okay, so these are through holes for the screws, and then I'll countersink them. But yeah, I've got to change bits here and drill this hole for my screws. All right, we'll just do the final 2 holes here. There she is. Now, with just a little shaping on this, you know, I'm going to round these over. I don't need to show you that. But that will be a nice jig, and I'm going to put some finish on this one to protect it from the water better. So this one ended up being a little bit shorter, but a little bit taller to give me a little more something to hang on to. So that'll be a nice setup, nice jig. Thanks for watching.